Have you noticed how emotions can be like storms? One moment you are calm, and the next, a simple word, a look, or even a thought can lead you to a whirlwind of feelings. But should we leave these emotional storms to rule us? In this video, we will explore how to control your emotions and achieve self-control. Emotions are part of our nature. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, they all exist for one reason. I am not saying that we should ignore them or pretend we feel nothing. The problem is not in feeling, but to be dominated by these feelings as if we were leaves in the wind, without control over ourselves. Imagine a navigator on the high seas. If he does not have a rudder and does not know how to read the winds, he will be at the mercy of the waves, going where they want to take him. Now, if he learns to guide his boat, he can use the winds to his advantage. Such are the emotions. If we do not control them, they control ourselves. But if we learn to understand them, we can use them wisely. Many times we are carried away by anger and speak words we are regretting, or we sink into sadness and stop acting. I am not saying that we must repress what we feel, but that we need to learn to observe our emotions without becoming their slaves. When you feel angry, ask yourself, does it help me or harm me? Stoicism teaches us how to take this break before reacting. Imagine someone offends you. You have two choices: react impulsively or reflect on what has been said. If the offense is true, use it as learning. If it is false, why shake yourself? Who says harsh words is only revealing their own nature, not yours. And the fear? Often it prevents us from acting, paralyzes us before the unknown. But stop and think. How many times have you been afraid of something that, in the end, wasn't that scary? Exaggerated fear is a tyrant that prevents us from living fully. It makes us suffer in anticipation, creating scenarios that will often not even happen. Sadness also has its role. She teaches us about the value of things, about what really matters. But if we sink into it, we forget that life continues. Feeling pain is part of existence, but staying in it is a choice. Joy, in turn, must be lived with balance. Many surrender to unbridled pleasure and then suffer the consequences. True contentment is not in excess, but in finding satisfaction in the small things. A good book, a sincere conversation, a moment of silence. This is worth more than any passing pleasure. If we look well, we will see that most of our sufferings come from our own mind. It is not the situations themselves that hurt us, but the way we react to them. If something bad happens, you can regret or you can look for a solution. Which of the two attitudes will take you further? The secret is in self-control. It doesn't mean being cold or insensitive, but knowing when it's time to feel and when it's time to act. Suffering comes when we allow emotions to assume the command. But when we understand and guide them, we become lords of ourselves. This does not mean that you will never feel angry, fear, or sadness. But it means that when these feelings arise, you will know that they are fleeting. You are not your anger. It is not your sadness. You are the one who watches these emotions and decides what to do with them. If someone treats you badly, this is a reflection of the person, not you. If something unexpected happens, this is part of life. The difference between the wise and the impulsive is how each one reacts to these situations. The sage accepts, learns, and moves on. The impulsive despairs and suffers more than it should. Peace is not in avoiding emotions, but in knowing how to deal with them. It is like a river that flows quietly, without being carried away by every stone it finds along the way. When you learn to control your mind, you find that external circumstances have less power over you than you thought. A good way to practice this is through reflection. Before bed, think about your day. What took you seriously? What could have been different? Over time, you will notice patterns and learn not to be carried away by the same emotional traps. And when does the emotional storm come? Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, does it really matter? Does this be weighed in a year? If the answer is no, then why lose your peace with it? If the answer is yes, then look for a solution, without despair, but clearly. Remember, you have the control. No one can make you feel something without your permission. Emotions come and go, but their essence remains. True strength is never in feeling, but never being dominated by what you feel. Be the master of your boat. not a passenger taken by the wind. Emotions are part of the journey, but they don't have to be the rudder. With patience and practical, you will find a balance and see that true freedom is within you. So when you feel you are dragged by a whirlwind of emotions, take a break. Note, breathe, reflect. You are not hostage to you feel. You are the one who chooses how to live. And this, my friend, is the true wisdom. Now tell me, are you ready to take control? If you have gotten here, it means you are looking for a better way. This in itself is already a big step. Stoicism is not a set of rigid rules, but a philosophy of life that teaches us to find serenity in the midst of chaos. The journey to self-control does not happen overnight. It requires patience, persistence, and practice. But every small breakthrough makes you stronger, wiser, and more owner of yourself. It is not about eliminating emotions, but of learning to channel them for something constructive. So when the next emotional storm comes, remember, you have the power to choose how to react. You can be a drift boat or an experienced navigator. The decision will always be yours. And more than just knowing this, you need to apply this knowledge in everyday life. With each small situation, with each internal conflict, choose to respond calmly and clearly. At first it may seem difficult, but over time, it will become part of who you are. Life is full of unexpected challenges and moments. You cannot control everything that happens, but you can control as it reacts. This is true freedom, not being a slave to circumstances, but owning itself. So practice. Observe your reactions, learn from errors, refine your way of facing life. Over time, you will realize that your peace does not depend on the external, but how you choose to live. If this reflection has made sense to you and wants to learn more about how to apply Stoicism in everyday life, subscribe to the channel. There we share practical teachings so that you can strengthen your mind and find balance in life. Do not forget to leave your like and activate notifications to not lose any content. We see each other in the next video. Over time, you will realize that your peace does not depend on the external, but how you choose to live. If this reflection has made sense to you and wants to learn more about how to apply Stoicism in everyday life, subscribe to the channel. There we share practical teachings so that you can strengthen your mind and find balance in life. Do not forget to leave your like and activate notifications to not lose any content. We see each other in the next video.